Hello everybody, welcome back. We're doing the game of Active Directory, and today we're going to be talking a little bit about kerberoasting. Okay, what is kerberoasting? It's simply a technique that hackers use to take advantage or to manipulate some aspects of the Kerberos authentication protocol in order to gain access to sensitive information. Let's take a step back a little bit. Okay, on a Windows network, you'll find two dominant authentication protocol. When two resources need to authenticate with one another. Okay, the older one is called NTLM, and the more recent one is called Kerberos. But when I say recent, I'm being measured. Okay, because both protocols are old. Now, the problem with the NTLM protocol is that in the way in which secrets or in the way in which authentication information is being communicated between resource and resource. Think about somebody who's trying to log on to a shared resource. Okay, the problem with NTLM is that although it's not using clear text, username and password, to authenticate with another resource, it uses something called NTLM hashes, and those hashes, they can be captured. Those hashes, there are tools available. The most popular one is Hashcat. I think there's others too, but you can use tools like Hashcat to take that NTLM hash in order to try and crack it offline. Okay, so it's easily captured. This NTLM hash, it's easily captured, and then you can use tools such as Hashcat to try and compromise them. Ideally, you want the kind of authentication protocol that isn't awash with all these NTLM challenge responses. Okay, you don't want those NTLM meshes flying around across the network because, as I've mentioned, they can be easily captured and they can be easily cracked. So Kerberos, as an authentication, does this. It uses a ticket-based system in such a way that the number of passwords being sent across the network is minimized. In other words, it won't be as prevalent as it is in a network dominated by NTLM challenge responses. Okay. Also, those exchanges that are taking place using this ticketing system, they're doing so securely with secure sessions, unlike NTLM hashes, where you don't need much. Basically, you just need the ability to be able to monitor those packets back and forth, going back and forth in a network, and then you'll be able to get to your NTLM hash. The Kerberos is better in that it allows single sign-on. For those of you who are familiar with single sign-ons, if you don't know what that is, imagine going to a concert, okay, and you're wearing this smartwatch, and this smartwatch, it allows you to authenticate once on the initial gate, and then subsequent to that, you don't have to show the bouncers, you don't have to show the security people your ticket anymore. You can keep that ticket safe from being grabbed. You can keep the ticket safe from being overlooked. Everything is stored securely within this watch, and as you move from one part of the venue to another, you just get granted access because all your authentication information is in one place. Okay, Kerberos is a little bit like that, where you do that authentication once at the beginning, and then from then on, it's a series of tickets that get exchanged, sometimes between the client computer being yourself, or sometimes between the service that you're trying to access. It could be a file share, or it could be an SQL database. those tickets get sent between the server, between the server that's hosting the service that you want, and sometimes between the client being yourself, and sometimes being the KDC, or for simplicity between the Active Directory server itself. So these exchanges, these ticket exchanges, they happen securely in the background. You don't get to see it. But of course, if you're willing to study the Kerberos protocol, you will see exactly how that happens. It's really busy traffic when these ticket exchanges are going on, but the most important part is that these ticket exchanges are happening securely, in a way that is much, much better than the NTLM hash. Okay. Both protocols, being the NTLM and the Kerberos protocol, the one that doesn't throw around NTLM hashes around, both protocols are quite old now. Okay, they're quite old. And as you know, you give a security researcher enough time with any technology, security researcher will find a weakness in that piece of technology, and basically that's why we're talking about NTLM hash cracking today, and that's why we're talking about a technique of abusing the Kerberos protocol called kerberoasting, and that's why we have that today. Kerberoasting was actually it's a technique that was discovered by Tim Medin. He introduced that technique back in 2014, I believe it was. Okay, and Tim Medin basically he did the community quite a big favor, because all assessments, all Active Directory assessments, since then, they included this kerberoasting, to help organization out there to secure their environments. Just a little bit more information about Tim. Tim hasn't stopped contributing in the community. I follow his webcasts every Wednesday. They're called Wednesday Offensive. It's a nice forum where attack-minded fellows, even defense-minded fellows as well, they just attend his webcast for about half an hour, and then people just talk. They talk about ideas, talk about attacking ideas, talking about how to go about defending them. Okay, so yeah, we're all very grateful for Tim. All right, so the rest of the slides, what I'm going to show you today is basically NTLM. You're going to see how those hashes are captured. If you haven't seen anything like that before, it will make you understand why people, or why the community, or why Windows moved over to Kerberos. And we're also going to show you this kerberoasting technique, on how even that protocol can be vulnerable to attackers. Okay, all right, so that's just a representation of what the NTLM hash looks like when somebody called Jon Snow tries to authenticate in order to gain access to some Windows share. This isn't the complete hash, of course. It's something that I came up with just to help illustrate what it looks like, or what you can see when you monitor the network, so that you can see what the NTLM challenge actually looks like. I'm going to set up a server so that you see a more practical way of doing this. I'm going to run the Impacket SMB server. Have you heard of that? It's just a little server that you can run on Kali, so that you can share any folder that is accessible across SMB. Okay, it also has the advantage of being able to see the NTLM exchange as it takes place when a client comes in. And basically it will allow us to steal this NTLM hash as it comes through in order to crack it by using a program called hashcat. Okay, all right, let's do that. Let me just escape here. All right, I've already logged on to my Kelly box here, and let's have a look. I already have, let's see what's in the downloads. Anything sensitive in there? There's nothing in there. All right, I'm going to start the command. I've already prepared the command here just to be ready for the video. First of all, let me just be sure I'm sharing the right screen. Yes, I am. Here's a tool. It's called the Impacket-SMB server. I believe I am. Yeah, no, that's the tool. And the share that we're going to create is called q.data anonymous share. All right, and then this is the path that I'm going to share, and I'm saying please it must allow for SMB2 support, and I'm saying that I don't want to bother with usernames and password right now. I just want to be able to share the file anonymously. Okay, so I'm starting that, and it says sorry, the server is in use. Yeah, okay, and that's because before starting this video I was actually practicing the very same command, so somehow it doesn't like it very much when you kill it and then you start it over again. I find that in most times I have to restart Kelly. So let's do that quickly. Sudo reboot. So that's Kelly restarting. So we're going to give that box some time to restart, and then we're going to log back on again. Okay, it should be back now. So what I need to do is to discover the IP address from the point of view of the Game of Active Directory lab. Remember, we had dropped in Kelly inside the Game of Active Directory lab. And it tells me as far as the lab is concerned, this is the IP address. So I'm going to copy that. We are going to need it later. I'm just saving it somewhere off screen. You can't see that right now. It's not very important. So I'm going to start that server now. Okay, there I've started it. Next thing I'm going to show you is let me power this Windows machine. Hopefully it works. So we've got a Windows computer here with a very weak password called 123456. I've chosen that weak password deliberately because I anticipate that that password will be available or will be part of RockU, the word list. Okay, all right. So you'll see how relevant that becomes in a moment. Okay. So now I want to display both the virtual Windows server and my terminal at the same time. Will it allow me? It doesn't look like it. I want to do that without using too much memory on the computer there. Okay. That should be fine, isn't it? No, sir. No, sir, it's not fine. Let me resize this window. Okay. This is fine. I can live with this. I just want to tuck it nicely in the corner there. That's good. Then I'm going to bring this closer here. That's good. Good. All right. Now we can see both. Now we can see the Windows machine, and then we can see the terminal. okay, from my Kali. All right. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click, go explore. And then remember that IP address that we saved for our Kali box. I'm copying it now. All right. And then we say // we paste that. Oh dear. So it doesn't take copy and paste. Okay, let's just punch that in there. 192.168.56.106. That is the IP address to my Kali box where this SMB server is running, waiting to share things anonymously. And I want you to see what happens the moment I try to access that box. Okay, here we go. Immediately it says a user called QData has authenticated successfully, and there's the NTLM hash over there. Okay, now all this can be easily copied like that. Okay, so let's start Notepad. Oof, I don't like the new Notepad that comes with Windows 10. My goodness. All right, let's paste that there. Oh, I really don't like it. I'd rather use something I'm more familiar with, like Notepad plus. Let's rather use that. I really don't like the new Notepad. Okay, there you go. This is much better. Does it have word wrap? Word wrap? Yep, yes it does. And let's try and remove extra characters. There you go. Extra characters gone. All right. Yeah. All right. So we save that. In our download. I'm going to create a file called hashes. And we can call this qdata hash.txt. Okay. So that's what we've done. We've just started a server anonymously. All right. And then we went to this Windows machine and basically, I mean, we haven't even accessed the share. All right. Simply by logging onto the machine and then boom, you get the NTLM handshake. All right. That we can capture. All right. So what do we do with it? We go to hashcat. Do I have the command here? Okay, so we've got the command ready. Let's go to command prompt. There you go. Let's go to downloads hashcat. All right. Yes, that's where everything is. And we're going to copy this command that we have prepared, and then we're going to paste the command like that. All right, so sorry, I just saw something fly across the room. I believe it was a moth. All right, there you go. It says cracked. The password is 123456. All right. So let's just recap here a little bit what has just happened over here. All we did is we started an SMB server, and then we tried to access the very same server from another Windows computer, and what we saw is the NTLM challenge response take place that allowed us to capture the hashes, and we took those hashes and we tried to crack them offline. We can do exactly the same thing with Rob Stark's account. We can do exactly the same thing. only we won't be running the SMB server as we have done here, because how are we going to get Robstock to come to us? Supposing we want people to come to our server, how do we do that in a network assessment? If you wanted to collect lots and lots and lots and lots of NTLM hashes, okay, there's a tool for that. That's Responder. This is where the Responder tool comes in, okay? When you launch Responder, the tool can just sit there on the network and pretend to be a DNS server. It will pretend to be all manner of things, all right? So on this lab, we're going to use Responder to capture Robstocks, hash, all right? So let's do that. Okay, we are back now. Remember what you've done previously. We just ran the one server. It was the SMB server. And we were able to listen to the NTLM exchanges, the NTLM challenge responses, and we were able to extract the NTLM hash from there. But if we wanted to set up a mechanism to listen to all talkers on the network, we might want to use a tool that's a little bit more advanced. We've got a tool called Responder. So I have prepared the command. I'm just going to copy it here. My password. All right, so there's a tool. It's turned on every possible server that the clients within the game of Active Directory might be looking for, and it's ready to respond. Okay, so all we do for now is just to sit back until we see some hashes come through. Okay, I don't know how long that's gonna take. Oh, not long at all. Okay, not long at all. So we capture everything. And we can even exit this program here. Then we go to our editor, and you try and clean up the stuff a little bit. We only want Robstock. Yeah. And we're just cleaning it up a little bit, okay? We are just cleaning it up a little bit. So Robstock, all these lines here. Okay. So those are Robstock's hashes. Let's save them. Wrong folder. Robstock.hashes. Okay. Robstock hashes, and then we go back to our command. Was it here? Yes, it was here. The only thing that we're changing now is that Robstock.hashes, and then we're saying the word list will be found here. And yeah, we execute. And just as easily, oh, there you go. Just as easily, I expect us to find the password, and there it is. sexy woofy. All right, so if we go back to our notes, you'll understand why. Oh, I've actually captured the password incorrectly there. So here's a correct. Well, okay. Whoa, boy. Let's just copy the correct one. Let's just make sure. There you go. So there you go. So hopefully you can see the ease with which these NTLM hashes can be captured. By the way, that tool that we've used, the Responder, it uses a technique called LLMNR poison, link local. I can't remember what the LLMNR poison is. Let me just look it up for you quickly. It is link local multicast name resolution. So basically what it means is that a client will say, hey, I want to connect to a computer called X. And then a malicious computer will say, well, I'm X. Okay. And then that computer will say, oh, okay, here's my session. This is what I want. Oh, and this is where this NTLM challenge response is going to be caught. Okay. So it tricks the local network to say, I am the DNS. In fact, it tricks the network to say the DNS is not available, and then it forces the network to use an old protocol for looking up computer names called link local multicast name resolution. Okay, that's what it does. It tricks the network to downgrade a little bit and not use DNS to look for computer names, but use this old lookup protocol. And then that way it puts itself in a position to be able to respond to any and all in order to trick those computers to begin this NTLM challenge response so that hashes can be copied as we have just done. Okay, all right. So now hopefully you've seen how easy it is for these NTLM hashes to be captured, and hopefully that makes a case for you to understand with Kerberos. Now we won't be able to see here. We won't be able to see quite easily the Kerberos protocol because, as I've mentioned before, when those exchanges of messages happen, they happen securely, meaning you can't, as a random person, just listen in to those packets or to those Kerberos messages. Those messages are designed to be read by the intended person, but it doesn't mean that you cannot find a way of manipulating Kerberos. Okay, and we're going to show you that technique now. So what Kerberoasting, which is this technique for manipulating Kerberos, what that technique does is first of all, you have to be authenticated. For the technique to work. Okay, you have to be authenticated. And then what you do is you do the normal things that a normal client would do. You log on to the KDC. After logging on to the KDC, you request a TGT. Once you get the TGT, you go back to the TGS and you say, hey, TGS, can you give me a list of all registered services? Yeah, just like that. It's designed, the system is designed such a way that if you suddenly say, give me a list of registered services, it gives it to you. So you request what is called SPNs. Okay, you've got a TGT, meaning you're authenticated. you can simply ask for those services. And what makes the technique relevant is that the once you discover what service it is that you want to manipulate, and then you go ask for a service ticket to access that particular service, you're going to get it. And this service ticket is going to contain the kind of information that you can extract and crack. What am I talking about? So a service typically runs with some kind of an account, a service account, okay? And in many instances, that account usually has more privileges than a normal account, okay? Think of all the accounts, think of all the accounts that we've discovered so far. We've discovered Samuel Telly, we've discovered Arya Stark. Apart from Geo Moment, which was actually quite easy to find, Geo has got ultimate privileges. The other users don't actually have that many privileges, okay? So you could ask the KDC for a list of services running, because those services that are coming will be linked to the name of the account under which that service is running, okay? And if that account has a weak password, then you'll be able to log on with that account and perform those privileged activities that maybe other accounts that you've got access to wouldn't have access to, okay? So that's what's good about kerberoasting. You're looking for service accounts, and the reason you're looking for service account is because these service accounts, they often have more privileges than a normal account. And once you've identified that account, you're going to hope that it's got a weak password, or the kind of passwords that can be found in the common word lists, such as ROQ, but as you may realize, there's many more of those, okay? So that's the attack, okay? You're targeting service accounts, okay? And that's what we're going to do next. So I'm going to switch back to our screen here and look for my prepared command. I'm going to close that one there. Should I close it? No, let's just hold on to it. All right, now we're going to clear the screen a little bit, and then we're going to go back to our curly box. This is our curly box, and this is our command. All right, so I'm going to go through it very slowly, okay? Remember what I said. I said once you're authenticated, so we'll be authenticating as Samuel Tally, okay? Does this zoom work? I hope it doesn't confuse you. I wanted to make it nice and big so that you can see. Tell you what. Let me do that, and then let me clear the screen, and now let me increase the font, and now let me paste the command. Ah, yeah, there you go. I think that's much better. Okay, that's much better. So let's go through the command, okay? So we're using that tool there called Impacket-GetUserSPN. You're saying it should make a request to that domain controller there. Okay, domain controller with that IP address, and this is the domain controller. You're saying log on with Samuel Tally. Remember, Samuel Tally account is it doesn't have privileges at all, but the system is designed such that anybody logged on can ask for a list of services and ask for the users associated with those services. Okay, that's what's going on. So in packet, it says get user SPNs, all right? And then it's going to output the file to a file called hashes.kerberos.winterfell. Okay, so that's what the command is going to do. All right, so let's execute. Let me scroll back because that was a little bit ridiculous. So I'm going to clear the screen and I'm going to run the command again so that we can see a little bit more of the screen. All right. So it brings back a list of SPNs. There's one, there's another one, there's another one, there's another one, there's another one. And over here, you can see the accounts that service is running under. Okay, all right, SQL service, Jon Snow and Sansa Stark. There's a little bit more information that we are going to get into in another video, which highlights the number one reason why you might want to pursue kerberoasting is because some of these accounts, remember what I said? I said that some of these accounts can run with privileges that are much higher than the account you may have. Some will tell you, for instance, doesn't have too many rights. But look at Sansa Stark. Sansa Stark has got something called unconstrained delegation. Whoa, that's big. Okay, we're not covering unconstrained delegation in this video, but I can tell you now that that's big deal. Okay, that's going to be useful. All right. Okay, so the command has run, and there's a file, hopefully, that it has created. If we do an ls minus l, we see a file that hopefully contains all the hashes that we want. Okay, so let's just see what is inside this file. Hashes dot. We see there's one for Sansa, there's one for Jon Snow, and there's one for the SQL service. Okay, and all we do, much like we did in the previous video, we just take this to hashcat. Okay, so we're gonna start a new file here. File new. Oh man, surely there is a dark mode for this. I can't remember how to do it in is it important? Not right now. Okay. Phew, it's really bright. Okay, so we've got those hashes there. So we are going to file, save them as users, qdata, downloads, hashcat, hashes. We're gonna call them kerberoastable.hash. Okay, save. And now the command we're gonna run to try and crack this hash looks slightly different. So hold on for me while I go grab it. All right, so we come back to Windows and we go to hashes because we want to see what did we call our hash. We just called it kerberoastable.hash. Just gonna modify our command a little bit so that when I paste it with the right information about the file containing the hashes that we want. Okay. So let me go back one. All right, and there's a command for cracking those kerberoastable hashes. And we wait. Shouldn't take too long. That's it. It did it. There you go. I know nothing. Now, now you can understand. If I go back to my file with creds, now you understand how I could have known the password for John. I know nothing. Okay. So that is it. There's the technique itself, it's quite easy and it's quite straightforward. But I want to invite you to invest a little bit of time just to understand how the Kerberos protocol actually works. It's important to highlight that the only reason it was possible to be able to crack that password, even though it was a hash obtained within the Kerberos protocol, the only reason why it was possible to do so was the password itself was very weak. Okay. So if we use good hygiene for passwords, using the kind of passwords that are not easily cracked, if we use passphrases and things like this, then it doesn't matter that anybody can ask for a service ticket and anybody can discover the account in which the service is running. It doesn't matter. If the password is strong enough, they will never crack that password. Okay. Yeah. So I'll stop right there. I'm gonna start doing the editing now. But basically today we've covered. We hopefully you were able to understand the move away from NTLM hashes. Hopefully the ease with which the NTLM hashes can be captured on a network was demonstrated successfully for you to understand why we had to move to a more secure protocol called Kerberos, and how even within Kerberos, if the password is weak, that the account could still be cracked. So yeah, that's all I have today, and please do subscribe. Please do tell more people about the video if you find it useful. Don't just tell them if it's boring stuff. You know, many of you are already familiar with this content, but if you know somebody that can benefit from this video series, just like and subscribe. Thank you very much. I will catch you on the next one.